man?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, look at you got that high def camera, man. Whoa, wow. This is yeah. You got a lot of good resolution here. I've been on a lot of Zoom interviews this morning, and I gotta say, you got the best resolution of the crop, man. So congratulations.
Sophie, I appreciate that very much. Thanks for joining me, man. Good to talk
Right
to
on,
you.
man. Yeah, likewise, dude. Likewise.
Hey, so we had a chance to meet at one of the venues that's here in town many, many years ago. And one of the things that I've loved is the fact that you have been in the WWE as long as you have. So congratulations to everything that you've done so far.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's really weird because I feel like WWE is like a weird time warp where everything feels like it was just yesterday, but then at the same time it feels like it was like so long ago. So for me to think about like my debut match like over 15 years ago is like 15 years, man. Like it's crazy to think about. But I'm lucky to still be here, still be able to do it physically, mentally, spiritually, I guess. You know what I mean? We're here. We're doing it.
I don't believe a lot of what goes on as it relates to WWE superstars on the internet. Where did you get your start? When did you fall in love with wrestling?
Man, I so it's weird because I feel like I've always been a fan. A lot of people have a moment where they were like, "Oh, I went to this show and I saw this guy and he looked at me and he insulted me and I knew I was gonna get him back, so I became a wrestler and I got him." For me, I'm like, I just feel like this has always been a part of my fiber. It has always been something that I've always wanted to do. Everything that I like all the games I played as a kid, like outside, I would always imagine myself being a wrestler. I would make my own like rings in the backyard. I'd put like
Wow.
extension cords, you know what I mean, like around trees, and be like, "Oh, these are the ropes." Duh. And like, so I feel like I've always been a fan, man. So yeah, it's been a lifelong fandom for me. I used to watch Saturday Morning Superstars religiously every Saturday. My parents never got me the pay-per-views, but you know what I mean. Like it was just a fun piece of piece of life to be a wrestling fan at that time, the Attitude Era and before, where at the time like nobody else was really a wrestling fan until the Attitude Era when people started jumping on the bandwagon. But yeah, man, it's just been a real joy to be able to say that like I'm living out my childhood dream. I know that like that term gets thrown out a lot. It's become very cliche,
Hmm.
but for me, like my actual childhood dream was doing this. And here I am doing it, and like my kids get to watch me do it in the ring, and it's just a beautiful thing, man. I'm so fortunate.
Who are some of your favorite superstars? You mentioned watching it on Saturday mornings. Who are some of your favorites back
Yeah,
when you
well,
were a kid?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for
Yeah.
sure. Shawn Michaels, Owen Hart was another one. Rey Mysterio. So, gosh, I mean, Kai and Tai was a great
Yes,
tag team back then. You know what I'm saying? Like
indeed.
Hakushi, yeah, dude, like bro, I loved the guys who would do like martial arts and high flying. So Kai and Tai was like right there, man. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat right there, right? Like doing all these ninja kicks and all that, but then at the same time wearing these bright colors and high flying off the top rope. I was just bitten by the wrestling bug back in the day, and I've been a fan ever since.
Did you go through WWE's developmental system?
I did, yes. I got signed in 2006,
Hmm.
and at the time it was in McDonough, Georgia, Deep South Wrestling.
Deep South.
So yeah, man, I wrestled there, and then I actually got a chance to go to OVW too for a couple like talent exchange programs. And then when Deep South got shut down in yeah, like 2007, early 2007, we moved to Florida and formed FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. And then I got signed while I was still in Florida Championship Wrestling. Now, Florida Championship Wrestling ended up turning into NXT, and they moved to Orlando, and now they're their own huge, tremendous entity. So, yeah, it feels good to be to have been a part of the history of the development of the WWE.
Why is it so important for WWE to have a developmental system now being NXT?
Yeah, man. So for two reasons, because number one, like people wrestle on the independent scene, and this is like really anything that is not like a major wrestling promotion. WWE, these are places that like the VFW halls that people wrestle at, or Knights of Columbus or
Yeah.
little venues, you know, or you go around and you wrestle these little venues. So when you have this developmental program, it's like our minor league like farming system. You talk about MLB, you have like the developmental leagues, the farm leagues. NBA, same thing. You have to develop the D League, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a place where you can kind of get your feet wet and under the umbrella of the WWE system. Wrestling a match on the WWE's level is very different than you would at the VFW hall, right? You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn the ropes, no pun intended, but you have to learn kind of how to do it under the WWE umbrella so that when you get called and handpicked to the main roster, like you're kind of already in the fold and it's not like you're starting from scratch. You know, getting used to being in front of crowds of, you know, anywhere from like 5,000 people to 90,000 people. Like you have to be able to go out and just keep your cool and execute in front and not be intimidated by the amount of people that are out there and just get experience. So but NXT has come so far, man. It's like I said, they have their own TV program with their own storylines, their own characters on the show, you know. So yeah, it's definitely a necessity for sure.
I'm going to ask you in a little bit later in the interview if there's a particular NXT star that you would want to either mentor or go up against. So I'll ask that a little bit later in the show. Kofi Kingston, WWE Superstar, is our guest here on Rock 108 and rock108.com. I love the New Day song, but a place in my heart is always for SOS. For whatever reason, my friend, when I hear that song, it gets me amped up. What about you when you heard that?
Yeah, it certainly does, man. And I always say like the entrance theme is so important, man, because there are some people who come out and it's like, whoa, this is the song you're gonna have, and that's that, and it's like generic beat Titantron #1, and it's just dun, 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 dun. You know what I mean? Like it's not compelling, it doesn't grab you, it doesn't move you. I was real fortunate to have gotten linked up with Collie Buds. He's the guy who sings, or you know, who sang my song. And you know, he's like a mainstream reggae artist, born in Bermuda, raised in Bermuda. So when that song came, when I was told I was gonna have that song, I was like, oh man, like this is actually like a really good theme. I didn't have to go like fight for it, you know? So I got really lucky in terms of having a song that even to this day, like when you put it on, like you said, man, like you can't help but vibe to it. And that's what you want to have when you have an entrance theme. When as soon as that song hits, you want people to be moved emotionally. Like for me, it was the steel drum, SOS, and then everybody, oh, and like who doesn't want to go out and have those good vibes, right? So I got real lucky, man. I got real lucky in having a great entrance song coming out.
And now with the New Day, Big E, you know, and Xavier Woods working together, you guys are like, it's almost like you're a band, right? When you were traveling together, right? And what did it mean to work? I know that you're not together now because of Big E being hurt. But what was that like to play off of each other, to learn from each other, to kind of, you were the vet, you know?
Yeah. Well, we joke about it though, because so even though I've been on WWE television longer, Woods has actually been wrestling longer.
Oh,
But me and E debuted on TV first, so a lot of people are like, "Oh, Woods is like he's the greenhorn in the group." It's like, nah, man, he's been on the scene. He's actually the veteran. You know, he's been doing it worldwide for quite some time. But it felt great, man, because and that's a great way to describe it, is like us being a band, because we're going out every single night, traveling with each other, driving in the same cars from city to city, town to town, and putting on great shows, but having fun while we're doing it. With E and Woods, it was always so just unique in having the chemistry that we had. Excuse me. Because a lot of people get like thrown together as a tag team. They say you're gonna wrestle with this guy. As a matter of fact, with me and R-Truth, they're like, okay, you guys are gonna be tag team partners. With me and Evan Bourne, same thing. You guys are high flyers. You're partners. Me and CM Punk. This is random. You're Kofi's buddy, man. Go out there and save him. Now we're tag team partners. So even when you're like cool as friends, it's very different when you are the ones who put the team together and you are the ones who are the driving force behind the bond. So with me, Woods, and E, like we're like legitimate brothers, man. Like same vibes. We've never been into any kind of fights or confrontations or disagreements. We have a lot of the same interests. We all like playing video games. We all amateur wrestled growing up. Like, so there's a lot of commonalities that we all shared. So I think a lot of people, when they see us together, like you see what true chemistry is supposed to be like and what it's supposed to feel like. And you can't help but be like drawn to that, because if you're walking down the street and you see three guys laughing and having a great time, and they're having, they're having fun, you look over, you say, man, I want to have fun. What's so fun? What's going on over there? And you start to see like what's going on. So that's kind of what happens with us, is even when people who are not wrestling fans, like they see us and they see our vibe and they're like, well, why are these guys wearing unicorn horns? What is a bootio? You know what I mean? Why is that guy twerking? Why are they swiveling their hips? They're supposed to be big, tough wrestlers. You want to be a part of that, So we take a lot of pride in being able to like not only be great wrestlers and great superstars out there, but also to do it within the confines of our personality, man. We don't want to like have to try to be something that we're not, right? Like we want to be ourselves, go out there and have fun and make you believe, when the time is right. Like, yeah, we're laughing, but we can also go out there and turn it up and be like, like guys who are able to go out there and wrestle good matches. So, yeah, man, it was awesome and really kind of liberating. I thought I was having fun in the industry until I got with Woods and E, and I'm like, oh, like this is fun. It opened up a whole new level of just being able to be myself and have like the most fun out there.
So if I was in the New Day's car, what's a rule of the car that has to be followed?
Ooh, a rule? I don't know if we have any rules, man. I think, gosh,
All right. So then let me ask it this way: who cuts the worst fart?
I don't know. Do we?
I feel like it's E.
He has a lot of protein, but you'd want to say E, but I got a lot of gas too.
Okay.
These guys know. My kids are sitting here next to me in the interview. They know what kind of gas I have in the tank. You know what I mean? And it kind of runs in the family, because sometimes they'll have a lot of gas in the tank too, right? They don't want to admit. They don't want to. They're not old enough to admit. Everybody farts. They don't want to. They don't want to admit it right now. They don't want to admit it. But it's all good.
Kofi, I appreciate everything that you've been doing. Hey, real quick, NXT Superstar, one that you'd want to take on one-on-one. I've got in my head one that I think that you'd match up well against, and that's Braun Breaker.
Oh man, he is such an enigma. So talented and has a natural level of charisma. Obviously, like he came up in the family, in the wrestling industry. So he's got it, man. I would love to go up against Braun Breaker. All those guys are so talented. Carmelo Hayes, man, like he's another guy who is incredibly talented. I can't wait till he comes up on the main roster to be able to see what he's gonna do. He's killing it right now in NXT. So I don't know, man. The list is too long, man. I think we're all fortunate that we know like that the future is very bright for WWE, if NXT is any indication.
Kofi Kingston, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate your kids also let me talk with their dad today too. So
yeah, man. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.